NASA's Wednesday. Wednesday. Musings.
Yay, welcome back. And we're still on NASA's Wednesday Musings. I've still got Diko, Tola, and Tina with me. And we're talking about the 3 P's of manhood. What I'm trying to do now is to do a deep dive into the 3 P's. We've talked about how it defines masculinity in the first conversation. And you heard the interesting views of my guests, co-musers, if you like. So the first deep dive we're doing is into the P, which is, I think we said protection, right? The man as a protector. So what I want to start with, or how I want to start this, is to ask what protection means from a man's role. And I think, Diko, you would be the best person. You want me to start with the women? Ladies first. Oh, yeah. As you're protecting them, that's fine. Ladies first then.
Okay. What does it mean to me? So the way I say it, my man, from trying to define what does it mean, my man should protect me from all forms of risk, mental, family, spiritual. This is the fire. This is anything. So the Superman poses, yes, anything that poses as a risk. My man should be somebody that I can go and like I can potentially see him as at least being able to somewhat solve the problem or being able to shield me from the problem. So yes, in my opinion, man as a protector, he has to have the capacity to shield.
Interesting.
Regardless of what that might come.
Okay. Tola, you're smiling.
And I think we're in agreement to an extent in terms of what protection means to me. But it's, I guess I'm also, in a sense, aware of limitations of a man. So while I have certain expectations, I want to be covered. Protection for me is covering.
Okay.
It's a covering in the sense of even when if there's a challenge,
correct.
Sometimes, I mean, like the examples you give external challenges. I'm talking about there's external and internal. You see, both of us, or in our growing, because growing pains, this, that, and the other. I just feel like the protection there is thinking for me. Not like I can't think, I'm thinking, but when I'm thinking, I am factored in.
Right. Okay.
And it's not just factoring me as wife, factoring me as me, as you know me, and as you know us, and as you know we've been growing. And then I'm protected in where we can actually actively engage, even when you don't know what to do. Because then there's a clarity. There's a I can trust that even when you don't know, we can it's still going to be tabled. I'm just like, okay, I'm informing you, you don't know, I'm informing you and this. And I'm safe. I don't know. I can't figure this out. I'm afraid of this. I am trying to navigate this. That emotional, mental protection. And I know that there's going to be an engagement, not a downplaying of.
It's not that serious.
Not that serious.
Yeah. Minimizing
my experience. Yes.
I don't ask you for too much like this, but let's hold your thoughts.
So what if the man does not know at the same time when you don't know though?
It is not okay to minimize.
Sure.
I've not said don't. I said now that, or even if it were navigating stuff, because I don't want you to be able to say to me that you don't know.
Right.
Opposed to presenting some kind of macho thing because when it's not,
that's my role. I can see for it as well.
That problem, and then it creates issues down.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying, oh, you must know everything. I just say think for me, and then when you are now stuck, think of me rather, not think. Think of me as me, not just this is what it was. Think of me, and if you don't know, you table it, not to just now assume, because a lot of guys are married to other people in their minds. This is not the They have somebody there, but it is somebody else that they are married to.
Yeah.
It is somebody else they are thinking about. It's somebody else that they are there is a mental picture of somebody else because of its very great chasm as a result of not connecting, not understanding the importance of your wife. The people there that have spouses they have one use.
Yeah. Functional.
It's functional. It's a functional relationship. Yes, just come and born. Or just come and give me a roof.
Yeah.
Come and born. Come and give me a roof. It has ended
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Sleeping in the same bed. And you are married. And when you are thinking about who you are married to and when you have to think about that person, the person in your mind is not who you are married to. It's someone else. It is an ideal. It is your preferred. It is what somebody else has told you. It is your mom. It is your dad.
It's not the person themselves.
So that's why I emphasize not just seeing me
As wife, but seeing me
as who I am.
so safe. I think,
And I think that's in the end. I think I've learned over time.
Of course.
I think, look, I'll say this enough is, in any relationship you're in, our biggest challenge is your spouse's childhood trauma.
Yeah.
If they grew up being seen, heard, whatever it is, all those things, or so in my case, for example, my parents showed love by being overly protective.
Right.
So I tend to push
Pass that down to them.
kind of how I was growing up, right? And I realized that much later in life. Now back to protection.
Yes.
A man, right?
As a traditional man, especially.
See, again, these things are learned, and I think a lot of times we expect to know these things from the beginning, and that's not. I think that's realistic. So, my wife knows that she's my next of kin, but that in and of itself is not enough.
Right.
She needs to know that if I die tomorrow, X, Y, Z would happen, and it needs to be clear in black and white that these things will happen. So there's no ambiguity. Let's define ourselves, especially where we're from. A lot of issues when somebody dies, because again, I guess people are afraid of writing about wills and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I know it's not. It's protection. And
It's all part of the planning. Yeah.
So it goes back again to what I was saying earlier about husbands and wives being each other's priorities.
Yeah.
Everybody else. And if that is the case, then it should be easy for you to be able to spell out all these things very clearly. And in the case of this death that will come one day, let's assume husband goes first, then this is how it works.
Yeah.
And everybody should be clear about that. Your lawyers, your family members, so don't come and say, I want to take this or take that. They should be very, very clear of that. And to your point earlier, it's not just physical security, it's also emotional.
Absolutely.
Right? So we don't put as much weight and understanding how important the foundation of psychological and emotional security is in relationships.
Yeah.
And these things can chip away very slowly.
Absolutely.
Well, then one day you wake up and
It just totally,
but that foundation is so key, and maintaining that foundation is probably one of the biggest jobs that we as men have to, because again, it boils down to love and respect. Men and women are very different.
Absolutely.
Women want love. Men want respect. If you ask any man what they want, respect, they'll tell you respect.
But I don't want to talk about that now because I think we'll touch it in the procreate platform. Yes. So what it is for me, and I think that everybody would sort of agree, and which is why I say, this thing, there's a reason that men are created to protect, because women want safety. Because all of this boils down to me feeling secure and safe. And it's beyond physical protection. It's mental as well. And there was something I shared with you, Diko, that's something on Instagram where the guy talks, where he says, as your man, I understand that I represent you. And so protection is beyond physical protection. It's how do I represent you outside and provide mental protection. So what I do outside of our home, how am I making sure that, and so it touches on what Tola, how does this affect Tola? How does this, do I see you, Tola is different from Tina. You can't just apply one blanket sort of approach and feel like, women are like this. It is Tola in her uniqueness. If I act this way, if there's a story that I cheated on you and it's all over social media, how is it going to affect my wife Tola? Not about how women should receive it. After all, my mother was fine. Do you understand? So I think that it comes from that place, you know. What do you think, Tina? What are you?
So, again, this protection thing, for me, it's also not just, so I hear you, but it's also, I need to trust that the man can protect me. I think that's what I'm trying to.
Okay.
So I need to be secure. I need to be moving around, secure in the fact that he has best interest.
How would he convince you that he's doing that?
So I would learn. So every single day, I'm putting responsibilities on him, and I'm trusting based on his execution of that.
You're testing him, sir.
No, but that's what we do day by day. If I say to you, for example, if you say to me, by the way, gas has finished, right? Or gas is finishing in 2 days, for example, and you come home 2 days after gas does finish, and you say, Tina, what happened? How far with the gas? Go and change the gas. And then I say to you that, I forgot. Mentally, you're going to create a scenario in your head where you're like, when gas finishes, I may not be able to trust that Tina will buy the gas on time. So you're
understanding, yeah.
You understand? Like, I feel secure over time.
Yeah.
And the trust that you're factoring in me as Tina over time, and you're not using.
So taking my inadequacies, everything, my shortcomings, just understanding the uniqueness, and just assume that a woman should know this, Tina should have known. Gotcha.
To arrive at this place of feeling secure overnight.
Right.
Understand? Like, it'll be based on our interactions, it'll be based on how we're growing together. That. So for me, it's earned.
But I can ask you a question, sir.
Sure.
Do you also believe that it's important, to have a weekly meeting to talk about these things?
Yes.
Actually, need to have the idea of the cadence, right? And it would be nice if that cadence is not net. So I won't want it to be so uptight too, but I will want it to be somewhat structured, like deliberate. This is what we want to talk about. It'll be nice if that cadence has some fun infused into it.
Even a president cannot take a decision by himself. He needs security decision for the whole country.
Yeah.
Have a cabinet meeting. Your partner, a cabinet, you have to sit down and ask yourselves and say,
how are we doing?
How are we doing?
How would you take it if I give you that feedback and say,
great?
I said,
but how do you say? It's how you say it, though. You can say things in love, right? Yeah, delivery. It's an inside joke between that and that. Oh, she's very big on delivery.
I think if there is a gap, right? As long as the gap doesn't cause animosity.
Yeah.
Which I guess goes back to delivery, right?
Right.
Then there's no problem. If you say to me, look, I don't think you do good enough on this side.
Yeah.
But I can understand why that is.
But this is me seeking understanding now. Another question I have is, don't men feel a certain type of way when you give them feedback, regardless of the way you deliver it? Don't they feel a certain type of way when you're touching on these 3 P's?
I have fun.
When you're touching on, for example, how he has been doing financially, or how he's been doing in terms of protection, when you're touching on these things, is it not like a sore subject? Like, regardless of how you butter it up or how you present it, does it not, like, how do men really take this in?
I don't know how other men take it, but for me, because that's my partner's openness on these things, we should talk about these things freely without any questions, right? Because again, if you're going to see me naked, I'm on.
Yeah.
Naked. So if you see me naked anyway, you meet me able to, you should see me naked. Right? And no, because it's not, life always rosy.
Yeah. True. Life is not linear.
It is when we get to the troughs that we need to be to hold each other closer.
Yeah.
And do more. Because anybody can do great when it's great.
True. Awesome. Okay, I think that's a perfect note to end this part of the conversation. And what I would take out of this is the man has a role to protect his spouse, and it's not physical. It's about you connecting with your spouse and seeing them. It's sort of like a nuanced protection. I see Tola for who she is, and I understand what her fears are. So I'm going to make sure that I protect her from that, right? That's what it is. Awesome. Okay, so we'll move on to the next topic. Just stay with us.